what it says.
Testing 1, 2, 3. Okay, we're on.
Okay.
We ready? Everybody take a deep breath. And now everybody has to say, it's so easy to be patient. Is it easy to be patient? Yeah, and you just look forward to all of those experiences that test us all the time.
Do we have to say that?
Patience is my midah.
It's just, oh, that's so great. If you could just rub some of that on me. Okay, but we're working on it right now. Here are the exact 13 moves, the 13 Kung Fu moves, how to use your mind to be patient with others, because we have to understand how God is patient with us, and He is patient with all of us. Okay? And then once we understand it and deepen that sense of how God is patient with us, we can be that way with other people. In the first trait, we learned how God does not withhold His good from another, even though He takes the same energy. He's giving us energy all the time. And we're taking the energy that God gives us, and that very energy, we're using it against His will. It's an insult to the king. And yet, He is so patient. He does not withhold His good. 1 second, He's totally quiet, totally patient, and still nurturing, still giving. After the sin of the golden calf, the manna came down the next day, the next morning. After the sin of the golden calf, Hashem still gave them breakfast. In bed! Okay. I don't know about bed. Maybe I had to go maybe walk a few steps for it. It depends. So we see, we have to understand deeply how God that is that way with us. Of course, in our past, we've made mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes. Everybody does things which go against the will of God. We do insult our Father in heaven, our unlimited source, and using it in limited ways with small-mindedness. What an insult. But yet God still pours upon us the ability to move our limbs and all our senses and everything like that day in and day out. The second one was the consequences of those deeds that we do. That every time that a person does an evil deed, a bad deed, he creates a negative energy, a negative angel. And that angel needs its sustenance. And it goes to God. And God can say, go to the one who made you. Sucker. Okay? We're just positive people here. We don't engage in negativity. You go over to the negative dude who made you. No, He doesn't do that. He nourishes with love that evil force. He serves him breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Right? Waiting, being patient, till the person will come back. Okay? To the right way. To the straight way. This is number 3 now. That was trait number 1 and 2. Oh, how God is so patient with us. And now we can be that patient with other people. And this, like I said, this is the most important book that is learned specifically in these days before Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur, because, and I'm God willing, Hashem will help me and give me the time, I'm going to line up for you all of the 13 midos of Rachamim that we say in the prayer, and Slichot Hashem, Hashem kel rachum v'chanun. When we say it, it's not just a nice song and it's not just a prayer. It's us really integrating that we are going to behave that way with our fellow man to such a great degree of patience. This is the third unbelievable degree of patience, which is going to be very challenging. But my Rosh Hashiva, I remember to this day, as clear as a bell, what he would do when people would come to him with certain situations. He would rush into the Beis Midrash. He'd say, "Where's the Tomer Devorah? Where's the copy?" And of course, I would maybe help him once. I helped him once get the copy, gave it to him. He opened up this page, and he said to this person, "This is what you have to do." And here we're going to learn it right now. So this is the third trait, Hashlishit. The third trait is called Over al Pesha, which means he how do they translate it? Passes by transgression, forgives transgression.
Yeah, that's how it's in
Okay, Zumida Gadola. He says this is a very great quality. That behold, there's no, how do you call it, mechila, there is no forgiveness. God does not forgive through a messenger. Okay? In other words, He doesn't send a note, a memo, an email, a text. I forgive you. God Himself comes, mamash, with Himself, only the Kodesh Baruch Hu Himself comes, and He is the one who forgives the transgression. Mechila means literally a wiping away. Okay? When we say, and we ask friends, do you mochel me? Right? mochel, it's not just forgive, okay? It's really a cleansing, okay? I don't know how you spell it. I'm spelling Hebrew. Is mem het yud lamed hey mechila. I think they call he translates it to forgiveness, right? What's the word? Forgiveness? Okay, so there's a great prayer that really we should all really get into saying before we go to sleep. It's probably one of the most dynamic, deepest prayers ever, and we need it so badly, especially I think in this generation. And that's the prayer where we absolutely, absolutely forgive anybody or anyone who has done anything against us. Okay? We absolutely let it go before we go to sleep. Can you imagine now really doing that, right? So the next day you are a completely new person and nobody has ever wronged you, ever. Can't be done, right, David?
No,
Don't ever say that. Okay, and I'll tell you why. Okay, I understand that. Oh, I know the resistance. Okay, I do. I'm aware of the resistance. We all have resistance because the world is telling us, no, you must get revenge. Okay? Or at least you got to hang on to it, right? But I have a great teaching which I always will pull out from out any sleeve or any pocket, and that is with every thought that you think, you create a malach, you create an angel. There's an angel that is created depending upon the nature of that thought, whether it be good or bad. And that thought, that angel, only pushes you to the fruition of whatever it is the nature of that thought. You need this in your pocket all the time. Why? Because what happens, now that thought, what is that thought? What is that angel? It's not some, what you think it is. It is an energy. When we have a thought, that creates a certain energy in our bodies. A certain feeling tone, a resonance, okay? Like you think a happy thought, you feel good. You're inspired, you feel great, right? A person is depressed, they feel low. The energy level is low. It has a certain energy in our bodies. And that is the whole idea really of prayer. That's why I invite you to my prayer class at Beit Rambam, 10:30, okay?
This week.
Every week I do it. I'm in town. I should be in town.
Okay.
Should.
This week.
Gee, I should work, even though they do have a guest speaker, but usually that's a little bit after me, so it should work.
Thursday.
No, no, I give a prayer class on Beit Rambam Saturday, Shabbos morning after Rabbi Wolbe does at 10:30-ish, and then I get into trying to move it to the feeling, because that's what prayer really is about, right? Mm-hmm. Prayer is really called avodah shebalev. It's really trying to get the buzz. Because if you feel the buzz, David, just go like this, just a little bit, right? You feel a buzz, right?
Rabbi, if you're saying that negative thoughts create negative angels,
Yes.
and depression,
Yes.
can medicines fix that in your opinion?
Well, if it fixes the way you think in your brain, but it probably is really only, I'm going to tell you right now, it's Band-Aid stuff.
That's right.
It's not the deepest.
You
The
gotta
deepest
do
is where
Band-Aid.
you work
Yeah.
on your entire perception of the world. I'm writing a book on this, God willing, one day, right? June 2021.
Energy therapy can heal you.
It's all about that, but I'm bringing from Torah sources and what the rabbis say and all the sources together. Not all of them, but some of them. Yes?
Just as we go through that, though, are we just supposed to suppress those thoughts?
No. It's suppressing, I find, to be, creates more tension. Because you're working really hard, excuse me. You're working really hard. You're putting your energy towards, don't think that thought, don't think that thought. And when you don't think that thought, if I tell you don't think of the pink elephant wearing a tutu dancing with a green umbrella. Okay?
We're all thinking of it.
I can't do that. You already fed my brain with that thought, right? So,
Find the group in order to think.
so the idea really is, if you start, you had to think a new thought. Okay? They say, avodat Hashem, serving God, is two forms, right? Two dynamics. One is called sur me'ra, get away from bad, and aseh tov, do good. So they both work in a dynamic that you always got to be focusing on. You have negative commandments to avoid, positive commandments to do. But I've heard many rabbis say the best running away from evil is to do a big positive. And I heard it recently, you want to you want to get rid of a negative habit, create a new habit. So if you create a new way of thinking, which is what Torah is about, it's the best remedy for the brain.
That'll cure depression, in your opinion?
Yes, and it's the right Torah.
Prayer or reading, or both?
Both. Because it's not just enough just to learn Torah, and it could think, but you have to get it in the heart. Right? Because if it's just an intellectual thing, then it's not going to, you got to buzz with it. Everything is going to be about that resonance that you resonate in your body. So now let's get back, because we're way off topic. Okay.
Uh-oh.
It's all good, David. Get out! Once again. Okay. So the idea really is, so every thought that you think creates an energy. So the idea really is, and it's quite simple, if you say the word can't, if you say the word hard, what are you doing? David, you're not listening to me because you're the one who raised the objection where I saw the resistance from you. Okay? Busted. Okay? So, when you say the word too hard, what are you doing? You're creating an energy, thank you. You're creating an energy that only knows how to create the reality of that thought. Don't forget, once you feel it in the buzz, I didn't get to that's the most important thing. When you bring it down and you feel it in the body, and it has that certain resonance, it's only going to attract experiences which are in a like harmony. Depressing thoughts are going to attract depressing situations in your life. You're going to see the world as dark and gloomy. As opposed to, wow, I can see so many people waking up. I see so many people coming to a different light. Wow, I see, right? And then, so therefore, you're inspired. Your energy is only going to attract experiences which are in that resonance or that harmony, that feeling. Everything's about the thought, the perception really, how you see it, because that's going to create the thought, and then that's going to bring a thought into your energy, and then your energy is going to go ahead and create the reality of that experience or work towards it. Okay? This is the deepest rule of all. You get this? You can just go home right now and just work on that for 7 years. Okay? I mean, we're done. Okay? If you just get that. But you have to understand that every single thing that the sages did in terms of ordering the prayer book was to get you to that feeling, Joe. To get you to that high. Because when you're on that high, then boom, obstacles disappear, you can overcome things, you can face the challenges more easier. Okay?
Can I just throw in one quickie
Okay.
to you?
Why to me?
I did.
Because we want to pick on you because you're pickable.
I just want to say, by example, that I did what he's talking about, and after 40 years on antidepressants, I'm off. I've been off for 3 years.
Unbelievable. Okay, that's worth it.
Yeah.
It's very hard.
40 years on
Just-
antidepressants and you're off. Okay.
listen to
There's
Rabbi
so many
Cohen.
stories about that, but
Well,
I'll
she
give you
does.
material to look at it later after the class. Right now, the idea here is, here we are, we're exploring these 13 traits, and they do seem, and our reaction, we have resistance, our reaction is, whoa! But you can't think that anymore. You have to think, this can be done. I must be done. This is what I was thinking of. Why is it called the Palm Tree of Devorah, this book? And nobody really knows why.
I was wondering that too.
Okay? Because you know why? Because you know something? What's that palm tree doing? It's protecting. It's providing shade. It's an oasis. So this world is a desert. Not many people are willing to stand up and be chutzpahdik, if I can say that word, and imitate God, like that. Okay? What? Because the world is against you. The world is like, how can you take that, man? How can you still give him that money, man, if he's taking that money and he's go ahead and spurting in your bad stuff about your name with that same money? That's what trait 1 was, for those who missed. Imagine you giving your son an allowance, and he takes the allowance money, and he has advertisements put all over Facebook bad about you, that you're a low life thief, and you're going to stop giving your money to him? No, God doesn't. God doesn't do it. Whoa, I can't handle that, Rabbi. You tell him, yeah, I can do that. You must do it. You must become the palm tree in the desert. That is the highest tafkid. That's the highest order that you could possibly do, even though it goes against every single fiber of your body. So you have to reach for the highest, and that's patience. can do this. Just start saying, I can do this. If you just at least admit the possibility. Don't say, I know the resistance. I've been doing this book for years. Okay, now look at this one. This is the third one, which is Mechila, which is Hashem pardons the forgiveness. Right? How does it go? I just had the English book. What?
It's in this one.
I got it. Right? So, here it goes. What page is it? Just tell me so I can get it in English
Page
for you.
10.
11.
11. Okay,
Oh,
fine.
you're welcome for you.
Here. I don't have an extra copy of that page. The next page I have plenty. Okay. He does not convey his pardon through an emissary. God does not send a memo or an email. Okay? That, hi, I've forgiven you, sign God. God himself comes and wipes it clean. The word mechila means cleansing. Here. Rather, the Holy One himself, blessed be he, grants the pardon as it is written. For with you, ki imcha haslicha. With you is forgiveness. Forgiveness. What is the nature of forgiveness? What does it mean to really forgive? Okay. What's the real nature of it? Okay. So he says here, shu rochetz ha'avon, that he cleanses the sin. Cleansing. Rochetz. It's a washing away. He washes away the sin. Okay? And he brings this down, Kediksiv, because he brings it from a verse in Yeshayahu. Im rachatz Hashem es tzoas benos Tzion. He washes away the sin, as it is written, when God has washed away the filth of the daughters of Tzion. Now, they didn't tell you the Hebrew, but I'm telling you, the Hebrew is much more colorful. Okay? Yes, tzoa. Do you know what tzoa means? What does tzoa mean?
Which one? What? Soa? No, I don't know.
Im rachatz Hashem es tzoas b'nei Tzion. Tzoa means excrement.
Oh.
Okay? Number 2. Okay?
But it's number 3.
Or in Israel, Gedolim. Okay? Gedolim. What? What'd you say?
It was number 3 attribute, though.
Yeah. Tzoas b'nos Tzion. Hashem washes away the filth, and it means that kind of filth. Okay? The Ken Kasiv, and thus it writes, V'zarakti aleichem mayim tahorim, I'm going to cast upon you the waters, the pure waters. Okay? I will sprinkle, purifying. Here it says sprinkle. V'zarakti is lizrok, is to throw upon you the purifying waters. This then is the quality of forgiveness of transgression. This is what it means when you forgive somebody. God sends purifying waters and washes away the sin. So my Rosh Hashiva, Zechuso Yegen Alein, Rabbi Goldstein, he would take this book when people would come to about complaints. I don't know what the specific situation is, but this would be his comment. He says, you see this? Hashem washes your diapers. Hashem washes your diapers. You could wash other people's diapers. Okay? So in other words, sometimes other people are going to make a mess. Right? Hashem doesn't send a messenger to go and clean the mess up. And it's a mess. Right? It's a filthy mess. Okay? It's this kind of mess. Okay? Hashem washes your diapers. You could wash other people's diapers. Why should I? This guy blew it. Why should I? Any mistake. They dropped their cell phone in the water. Right? Let them go and get a day job, and even though it's 2 years old, and let him go get a job and make his money to make his own, to get his money for a cell phone or whatever. Now he wasn't 2 years old, okay? But I'm just like, you could say that, right? I could say this person, this son, daughter, relative, friend, did this mistake, and there's ramifications of the mistake. There's a little bit of a fire to put out, a mess to clean up, right? People do that all the time. They say, spread words, spread rumors, right? I know a rabbi, he had to go and put out fires all day long because people would start unbelievable, a tumult in the community. So you had to go appease this person because this person was insulted by this person and, try to just, So why should I be involved in that? No. Here you have a special, unique opportunity to emulate God. And this is what it says here. V'hine, a person should behave in exactly the same way. He should certainly not say, Why should I be the one to rectify so-and-so's sins or perversions? Okay? For when man sins, the Holy One, blessed be He, rectifies the perversion, not by way of an emissary, and He washes away the filth of a person's sins. From this, one can also understand that a person should be, this is another kind of an emotional state that a person could allow himself to feel, not too much, but a little bit, that a person should be too ashamed to return to his sinful ways. In other words, the person has already come back to God. He recognizes his flaws, he recognizes his shortcomings and his mistakes. But then when the temptation to return to those ways comes to him and presents it to him, the idea, an immediate emotion of embarrassment, a person can push the button, instigate, bring about, and with his mind, saying, whoa, that would be, don't want to do that. I don't want to go back to that because you know what? God himself has to go ahead and cleanse me. He has to go ahead and change my diapers. Okay? So you know, and I know, and maybe you can think of in your past where there was a certain person, a rabbi or a dignitary, a parent, somebody who you honored, and something happened as a result, and you didn't want that person to belittle themselves to go ahead and wash up the mess, and you cleaned it up for them. I don't know, maybe you have to dig into your past and think of a situation in your life where that might have happened. I know it happened with me, many times. Like my rabbi did something, he spilled wine on the table, right? Sometimes they did it on purpose, right? Because somebody else spilled wine and they want to save that person from embarrassment, so they go, sorry, right? But in any case, so you don't want him. Why should he clean up? He dropped something. The dignitary, the important person, the parent, father, mother, right, rabbi, they dropped something, made a little mess. No, you don't want them to do it, you do it, right? You'll do it because to give them that dignity. But imagine now you do something and he's cleaning it up. You definitely wouldn't let him. Would you allow him to do that? Would you let him do that? You made a mess, and now the big rabbi is going to come and he's going to wipe your mess. Okay, yeah.
So I have a two-part question.
Yeah.
Maybe first one is because I've missed the first class. But are we talking about when our soul returns to God? This is when he's going to be doing that?
So returns to God in what way do you mean? Die or
yes.
No? I mean returns, when a person is on the mark, meaning get back on track. My definition of tshuva is when a person is aiming an arrow at a bullseye and he misses, that's called a chet. In Hebrew, it's called chet. You missed the mark. You missed the bullseye. So to return meaning is to get back on the bullseye, and meaning to get back on your mission.
Okay.
So that's what it means by returning.
So part two. So for 55 years, I was a sinful person. And for 5, I've not. So I feel like I have to do tshuva and mitzvot to repair 55 years worth of sins. It's not like God's going to wipe that away. I have to participate in that, right?
Yes. To the degree that you can.
Right.
Listen, there are different levels for everybody, and tshuva, like 55 years, or for me it was 19 years, and we were all ignorant. Okay,
Right.
We were ignorant.
Exactly.
Hashem, he bears all this stuff, and he takes little pennies here and little pennies there, right? Don't get annoyed when he takes the little pennies, okay? And for the most part, he takes it all into account, okay? And he understands, and he knows the depth of our sincerity.
Right.
There was once this person. I think I gave this story. Maybe I've told it. Forgive me if I've told it too many times here. But the Baal Shem, this person was riding into town at the Baal Shem Tov's time, right? And he was riding into town. He got to the town late. It was Friday. It was Friday night. So he was riding into town when it was Shabbos. And he felt so bad that he broke Shabbos, because you're not supposed to ride on a horse and you're coming outside the boundary, carrying items that you're not supposed to carry. he ended up coming into town. He made a calculation and he regretted his calculation. He came into town and he broke the Sabbath. Felt terrible about it. Went to the holy master, the Baal Shem Tov, and says, I need to make a tikkun. You got to give me my tikkun. So Baal Shem, no problem. You take 18 candles. You go to the synagogue and you go to the candle and you do this like every Shabbos, right? And you make sure in the synagogue you light the candles. Go and light 18 candles in the synagogue, right? Do that for I don't know how long a period of time. So the guy was very excited. Great. He buys the candles, no problem. He goes to the synagogue on Friday, and he goes there, and there's somebody learning in the synagogue. Different kind of rabbi. Okay? This rabbi is not necessarily one of the followers of the Baal Shem Tov, as a matter of fact. Right? And what happened was, the rabbi sees this guy setting up 18 candles and goes, what are you doing? What are you doing? He said, Baal Shem Tov says, in order to fix the sin that I did, I need to light these 18 candles. And what did you do? Well, I broke Shabbos. He says, you broke Shabbos? And this is going to cover it? This is not the price, my friend. You have to pay the price. You have to fast. You have to roll in snow. This is what you got to do, right? This is what you got to do, right? If you want to really fix the fact that you broke Shabbos. The guy was like brokenhearted. And he started to do these things, right? And he couldn't do it. It was so hard for him. He went back to the Baal Shem Tov and he told him what had happened. That this guy in shul told him this is the real tikkun. And the Baal Shem Tov says, I'll take care of it. Okay? So he did it his way, the Baal Shem Tov. I think he appeared to him in a dream, right? Basically said, you moron.
Oh, to the guy who said
to
it.
the rabbi, right? Sorry to be California. Probably called him something else. Said something else. Something nicer, but I like to use my poetic expression. Moron.
Nothing wrong with
This guy, his atonement, he felt so bad. The feeling bad of what he did, that was his atonement. He didn't need anything.
Yeah.
All he needed was the 18 candles.
Mm-hmm.
Dude. Okay. So the guy, okay, I believe, I have to go back and go the story because I haven't seen it in a long time. But basically the guy eventually got the message, the rabbi, and he let go. He didn't get on the guy's case about what the guy has to do. Okay? Because the Baal Shem Tov came to him his dream and told him what the real deal is. Okay? So in any case, a person's remorsefulness, a lot of times, okay. And even the simplest, even lighter than that, the Baal Shem Tov says, before you get into any huge tikkun, just by the fact that you change your ways is the first thing. Right? That's the first thing. All that other stuff is extra fluff. Don't worry about that. Just change your ways.
Because it's coming from the heart.
Yeah, just change your ways. All right? So in any case, the idea really here is the idea of shame, the idea of feeling embarrassed. I was giving the imagery of, let's say, if you were to be at a party and there's a big dignitary there and you drop the milk, you spilled the milk, are you going to have him go and clean it up? Well, maybe if it's Trump, maybe. Right? Okay? Sorry about that. Right? The California people really love me for that comment. Not the Texans, though. What?
Isn't the root of dignitary dignity? Wouldn't one have to...
Well, it's an honorable person. Anybody who you honor. Let's say your father and mother were in the room and you dropped the milk. I mean, you're all mature people. You wouldn't have him go and clean it up for you. You wouldn't have that. And here is the situation where he's doing it.
No, the phony part that Trump would have to do.
So don't clean
Well,
up.
not go back to him. I'm sorry. I just wanted to give you an imagery of somebody who was an honored person, right? Listen, anybody over 70,
Same line.
you have to get up when they walk in the room. You know that, right? Anybody who's 70 plus years old walks in the room, you have to go like this. You know that. You have to get up before somebody who's an elderly person.
But how do you know how
But
they
nobody
are?
does
So
that.
anybody
Well, you're right. You got okay. Fine. We're when we get into the technology of age counter when they walk in the room, right? We'll
You
get.
have to wear a sign.
Shines over your head.
I am 70.
Okay, fine.
Nobody
But
does that.
anyways,
No, but like the idea of
You
standing
just
up when
know.
a lady comes to the
Okay?
table, I like
Anyways,
that.
weiter.
And you
The
stand-
idea really is Hebre. The idea really is you have to get to trait number 2.
Woman appreciates.
The idea really is the idea to try to integrate a feeling of, well, I really don't want him to, I really don't want God, the Almighty, the creator of the universe, who's completely unlimited, who created me and creates and makes creation, to go down and clean up my mess. I would like to rather clean up my own mess. So therefore, it would be better for me not to do the mess, rather than him come and clean my mess. It's just an idea of a relationship. Okay? Once again, it's like an idea of a relationship that he has with us. That if we make a mess, a spiritual mess, and we get cocky on our soul, in the end of days, they say, it's a Rachmanis. The next world is a bigger Rachmanis. This world, you can handle the Rachmanis. Rachmanis, which means like it's pity. It's a pathetic situation. If a person doesn't have clothes, you go and get him clothes. A person doesn't have food, you go and get him food. In the next world, you can't do that. So if a guy's walking around with filthy clothes, you can't do anything. Okay? You can't go, okay, let's change. No. That's it, man. So you're at the black tie event and somebody's, I smell something. Okay? I think you better just stay there, man. Security. Okay? Okay, sorry about that. Let's go to trait number 2. Yeah, that's what I got. I got the nod. If I got the nod, I'm good. Okay, number 4. Here, I got new sheets for you.
You keep saying 2.
No, that was trait number 3
No, you
here.
said, let's go to trait 2. You keep saying.
The next, sorry. Oi! Meaning, I want to discuss 2 traits today.
Oh,
So we're at number,
See.
4.
right here. Let me just, here, just pass these back.
Yeah. It's quattro.
You have the book.
Quattro.
Yeah, number
And
3,
forgives
we're
the
talking about
transgression of the remnant of his heritage. Okay, this is trait number 4. In other words, if trait number 1 you can't get by, it's too hard. If trait number 2 is very hard. Trait number 3, whoa, you always got trait number 4. Okay, in other words, these are the different moves. If move number 1, move number 2, and move number 3, right, you're not so expertise in yet. God willing, we should all become an expert in them. You got rule number 4 all the way down to 13. 13 moves. This is and forgives the transgression of the remnant of his heritage. The Holy One, blessed be he, conducts himself towards Israel in this way. Are we all there? Mm-hmm. He says, what shall I do for the people of Israel, who are my relatives? Shehem Krovai, I'm related to them. That's a mamish, unbelievable connection. This is what God says. Right? What shall I do for the people of Israel who are my relatives? Which means, how can I afflict them so much, right? She'er basar li imahem, they're flesh relatives. She'im bat zug la'kodesh baruch hu. We are the spouse of the Holy One, blessed be He. We're God's wife. So there's an unbelievable depth of relationship. Really, it's one of the big, huge things, okay? That a Jew, probably they don't really go over enough in school, how close we are with the Kodesh Baruch Hu, okay? But coming from God's point of view, God says, for the people of Israel, they're spouse of the Holy One, blessed be He, and He calls them my daughter, my sister, my mother. They're that close in all of these different forms of relationship. As our sages explain the phrase, the children of Israel, a people close to him. Am Karovo. Israel Am Karovo. Krov in Hebrew means relative. We're a relative. Okay? And he has actual blood relationship with them, and they are his children. Here's the idea, or at least Rabbi Moshe Cordovero's step 1 in living it like a son or living it like a wife. Okay? In other words, how are you in terms of the relationship to God? Most people don't have or haven't really integrated this concept of this closeness of relationship to God, okay? They kind of think he's out there, I pray to him, he gives me what I want, we're good, okay? But it's not at all like that, okay? It's very, very close. So this too is the meaning of the words, and there's a words from the pasuk, L'sheirit nachalatzo. This is from one of the traits. What does it mean, L'sheirit nachalatzo? Sha'er is the language of basar, of a relationship of flesh. Okay, that's what it means by sheirit. V'sof sof heim nachalatzo, and in the final end, they are his heritage. Uma, what does that mean when you think about that? Okay, a remnant of his heritage, because we're the offspring of Avram, Yitzhak, and Yaakov. Okay, who is really considered his nachalah. Okay, in other words, with Avram, Yitzhak, and Yaakov, God promised, I'm going to bring the redemption. We're going to fix the world. Everything's going to work out great. And I promise you, Avraham, Yitzhak, and Yaakov, and you to your children and your children's children, we're always going to be together. Okay? You wonder, what did the Avos do? What were they thinking? What angels were they creating that had such a bond? Where God says, I'm going to bring a redemption to the world, to your children's children, because of you. We say it 3 times a day in the Shemona Esrei. Okay? He brings the Redeemer to his children's children, the meaning of Avraham, Yitzhak, and Yaakov, right? L'man Shemo, for the sake of his name, with love. In any case, this too is the meaning of the words of the She'eri, the remnant of his heritage, implying the She'er Basar, which means flesh, a blood relationship. And it can't be a literal blood relationship, because God doesn't have body parts and God doesn't have blood. But you have to think of it in terms of the concept, okay? And he's going to bring it to an understanding in a minute. In the final analysis, the children of Israel are God's inheritance. Since the Holy One, blessed be He, says, if I punish them, the pain is mine. As it is written, in all their trouble, He is afflicted. Now this is an interesting idea that sometimes you have to understand. In the Torah, sometimes there is a way that we write a word, and yet we actually, when they read it in the Torah reading, it is pronounced differently. Okay? In other words, it's written when we write it in the books of the prophets, like in Yeshayahu, and when they're going to read it in public, there's a little note there on the scroll that says you have to read it with this in mind. It's very far out. Especially, this is one of the places where we write the word where he is afflicted. It is written, the verse is written lo tsar with an aleph. Okay? Lo, which means in Hebrew, no. So if I would translate that, put that back into translation. In all their trouble, lo tsar, there is no pain. Which is kind of like a hard way to understand this verse. If I say, in all of the afflictions that the Jewish people get afflicted with, lo tsar, to God there is no pain. But that's not how he is right. He is understanding it, as he tells us right now. Lo is written with an aleph. An aleph is a very significant letter. It's the first letter of the aleph base. Aleph is considered to be the silent letter. When you say a, there really is no real sound to it like any other letter, like a b or a g or a d, or even an ayin. The letter ayin seems to be silent, but ayin is a guttural letter. There's a little squishy back here in the back. Okay? Those Sephardim, they know the Ashkenaz can't do that. So that's why they don't like the Ashkenaz davening for them in a synagogue. Because they know those white boys, they can't do that. Okay? Okay? Yeah, that's right. That's a secret little thing that's now right all over Facebook. We're in trouble now. They're going to come. Sephardim going, man, you're going to give now. They're going to come after us. Now the white people are going to come after us. Yeah. What can we do? We were raised in American society where it wasn't taught to us the difference between an ayin, which is a guttural letter, and an aleph, which is quite silent. Right? Now you know that? Are you going to go home and practice that? Okay. Took me like a year to get it down. I still don't think I'm doing it right, because when I go up to the Torah in the Sephardic synagogue and I bless, Chai olam nata pitochenu, right? They're going like, you still didn't do it right.
Rabbi, is that why you came?
You're just lucky you're the only Cohen around here that we put.
Rabbi, is that that's why you were a pirate on Porn?
That's R.
Remember he was a pirate?
Aleph.
Good one, Dave.
What?
Now, in the Aleph Beit, I'm giving you a little mystical insight here. Aleph, because it's a silent letter, it is the highest, the closest thing to what we would call to the most godlike letter. In other words, we associate Aleph with God. It's an associative kind of thing because it's silent. And it's a silent letter. It doesn't really have any real pronunciation. okay? Because it's like just the air, okay, or even higher than the air. So we call an Aleph a nickname. We call it Alufo Shel Olam. Alufo Shel Olam, which means the master of the world. Okay? So the idea really here is the Lamed Aleph, written in the written text, implies that the pain of Israel extends to the level of Keter called Pele. What are you saying, Rabbi? First of all, we're all in the trait of Keter. Everything that we're talking about, patience, in terms of the 10 Sfirot, the 10 attributes, the 10 divine emanations of Kodesh Baruch Hu, what we're dealing with in this chapter, the 13 midos of Rachamim, are all corresponding to the highest trait of God called Keter, of those 10 emanations. Okay? Now, the word Pele means really, what does Pele mean? Pele means wonder. Okay? But if I take the word Pele, do I have a pen? No! Underneath?
Maybe,
It's in there.
those markers right there, those markers.
If I take the word Pele, okay, which is really spelled Pele, right? In Hebrew, Pe, Lamed, Aleph, for all those who are going to Hebrew class. And I switch these letters around, I end up with Aleph. Aleph and Pele are the same thing. Okay? Wonder, Aleph, same thing. Okay? I tell our whole lives, all we want, I'm telling you, all we really want, if I could carve everything away, we only want to be in a state of wonder with God. Okay? The moment that you saw the Grand Canyon for the first time, or saw a real starry night, you were in wonder. Right? And the wonder of whatever it is, and we can all search in our past for the states of wonder that we've been in, and the states of wonder that we want, and the states of wonder that we want more of. Okay? Which is all coming from God. Okay? The state of wonder. Okay? So the idea really is implying that the pain of Israel extends to the level of Keter, Pele, the highest place, the Aleph. And how much more to the level of the dual visage, I'm not going to get into that, which he calls it Tiferet and Malchut. These are different forms of expressions of God in terms of his Hanhagot, in terms of his guiding forces in the world. Okay? In other words, it's God's pain. Bottom line, our pain, when we're suffering, God also is suffering with us. Don't think Lo Tsar, Lamed Aleph, is written, he doesn't have pain and we're all alone. The worst thing, I'm telling you, the worst pain, everybody would agree with me, is when you're in your suffering, that you think you're the only one suffering. That you think you're all alone. Okay? When it's so not true. Okay? God is with us in our pain, in our suffering. Okay?
Is that why they call that the only true prophecy now?
What?
Pain?
Wow, that's an interesting one. They do say that the Shekhinah, someone who is suffering, you're looking at the Shekhinah. They say it's brought down in the books. Okay? But I don't know about that, because prophecy also exists on crazy people and children. Okay? Yeah. Prophecy exists in crazy people. I know a crazy guy. He's amazing. He's amazing. I'll send him to you. He's amazing. He's totally nuts. He's amazing. Okay. All right. Through which the world is mainly run. But the verse is read. See, there's written, Lamed Aleph, and there's read, Lamed Vav, which is with a Vav, signifying that the pain is his. It's really God. In other words, the pain reaches to God, and the pain is God's. Okay? This is also the intention of the verse. His soul became impatient with the misery of Israel. For he cannot bear the Jews' suffering and disgrace, since they are the sherit of his heritage. So I ask the question here, I don't know if I have the total answer, is wait a minute. And you've probably heard this in the concept before. With your suffering, God is suffering with you. Okay? So if God is suffering with me and he can stop it, why doesn't he stop it? Okay? If he's God and he can do anything, and I'm in pain, and he's with me in my pain, and he can stop it, why doesn't he stop it? You got an answer?
It's to bring around the tikkun for that person.
Right. Because you have to have that pain for a reason.
You have to have it. But don't
Yeah,
think that
that's
God
right.
is aloof to it.
Right.
He's not connected. He's totally with you. He's totally with you. You got to know this. And it's so deep because people don't know this. There was this yeshiva bacher in the time of the Chavetz Chaim. His parents left him with his family, went to America, right? This is the 1930s, the 20s, right? So, and he left him a 15-year-old boy alone in the yeshiva without his parents. Chavetz Chaim brings him in one day, right? And he says, your parents, they went to America. And the poor boy's like this, and he feels so alone. You feel so alone, right? You're not alone, he says. God's with you. Moron. Oh, no, he didn't say that. He didn't. No. He says no. He
That's what I
no.
was
He
gonna
didn't
ask.
scream at him. He didn't scream. Sorry, I'm being a little bit exciting because he's not with you. God's with you. You got to hold on to that thought. You got to hold on. Don't forget, every thought creates an energy. You can't think that you're alone. But go to the next step. Okay, a person should conduct himself the same way towards his friend, since all the people of Israel. Am I in the right? Nope.
Yeah,
I'm
you're
going the right way.
Yeah.
Since all the people of Israel, it's so deep if we only integrate this, our blood relatives, we're all connected. Being that all souls are united, and each person has a part of all the others. You don't have it? Don't tell me they skipped that page for you guys.
Well, we have it. You're
Okay, got it.
Page 14.
Okay. Being that all souls are united and each person has a part of all others. I never understood this, but I've told you guys this time and time again. Okay? This is why an individual who carries out the commandments can compare to a multitude of people who do so. There's a greater energy, since they all complement one another. But first, just to go back just a little bit here. To understand this is the concept that we have called arevus. Arevus, which is called Israel arevim ze b'zeh. All Israel, we literally translate as our guarantors, this one to this one. Classically, if you see somebody doing wrong and you are quiet, your silence is agreement. And therefore it will go on your record as if you did it. You're culpable. So therefore you have to warn, protest to some degree that you can, if you can, okay? Unless he's going to kill you. So then you run away, okay? Yes?
But like in Proverbs, it's back to back. It talks about the person that gets into somebody and rebukes them as being a senseless fool, of like grabbing a dog by its ears. And then right next to it says you can't just pass by and not rebuke somebody when they're doing a transgression.
It depends. Nowadays we say, you're right, nowadays the whole idea of rebuke these days, and they basically say, you should, unless you love that person knows you absolutely love him, and that person is absolutely going to accept it, then they say it's better humility than rebuke, because you can mess a lot of things up. I won't go into it because there's a whole Torah in the Zohar about it, and Rabbi Nachman about what you can make things worse, and you could, okay. But the idea really here is this: understanding. This is a deeper understanding. So, and thus our sages explain regarding one who numbers among the first 10. This is kind of like a side topic, but it helps us a little bit. Somebody comes to the synagogue, he's one of the first 10 to arrive at the synagogue, and that even if 100 come in after him, he receives a reward equivalent to the combined reward of them all, because he was the first 10. In other words, somehow all the other 10 get sucked into his soul. Okay? He becomes one of the main 10, and they're all like sub-branches of him. Okay? So all of their prayers come sounded like, it's kind of like, it's a pyramid scheme. You become a double diamond. Okay? So in 1 month, right, you can, okay, so in other words, in a certain sense, 100 is to be understood literally, since the souls of each of the first 10 are included in each other. So they are 10 times 10, equaling 100. Okay, in other words, 10 people come together, and each one, let's just look at 10 people coming together. Let's just look at this. I'm going to explain this quite simply, and then it'll become clear. In everybody's soul is a small sliver of everybody else's soul. You've heard this before. I've told you this before, right? You can't hear it enough. We can only integrate it, right? In your soul, you have your soul. Your special soul frequency that you must transmit. And that yet you have incorporated into you a small sliver of everybody else's soul. Okay? So in other words, you have an instant connection to every single person. It's there. You have to realize it's there. You have to know it's there. If you don't know it's there, you can't reap the benefit from it. Okay? There was a great case, true case, about a guy who bought some barrels of coal from somebody. He bought the barrels of coal, they're sitting in his yard, and somebody came by and offered him the money for the coal, the barrels of coal, and he says, okay, yeah, I paid this much, but this much, $25, take him $25. The guy took it home, emptied it, and inside one of the barrels of coal, underneath that coal were gold coins, full of gold coins, millions. The guy finds out and says, whoa, whoa, whoa. The buyer says, whoa, 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 they were my gold coins. You should pay me the price or they're mine. Give them to me. Because you only had in mind to buy coal. Right? That was all you had in mind to buy.
You didn't explicitly say the contents of the barrel.
Right? Right? So they went to a big Rav, and the Rav says, when you bought those and you had those barrels, you didn't know what was in them? They are not yours. You have no right to them. It's so deep, my friends. It is so deep. Because if you don't know what you have, you can't acquire it. You can't reap the benefits of it. Yes, beneath us, beneath the coals, there is a gold mine, right? That we have to know and acquire. And know we have, okay? Because if you go ahead and give it away or sell it, right? You don't even know what you have. We don't even know what we have. Walking around all day, right? So we have this unbelievable soul, and you have a sliver of everybody else's soul. An unbelievable connection. If you don't know you have it, you can't connect, right? If he doesn't know he has coal sitting under there, he has gold coins sitting under that coals. He doesn't know he has it. He doesn't know what it is.
More precious than gold and silver.
So here, let's go back, go weiter here. 100 is to be understood. Literally, I think I did this. 10 equals, because even if you have 10 men in a room, and each one is a sliver of those 10, just to look at it kind of simply. So therefore, it equals almost like 100, because each one, let's say you divide each soul into 10, then 10 times 10 is 100. Thus, the 10 include 100 souls. Therefore, even if 100 people come after one of the first 10, his reward equals all theirs. And this is why all the people of Israel are called guarantors, one for another. Why? Since each individual Jew has a portion of all the others. When one individual sins, he blemishes not only his own soul, but the portion of him that every other Jew possesses. So it follows that his fellow Jew is a guarantor for that portion. Okay? It's like almost like they have a piece of you and they're not investing very wisely in it. Not a good investment. That you're spending your energy doing that. Okay? The famous parable, the famous imagery that they give in the Talmud is that all of a sudden the alarm in the boat, big boat, sounds off. There's a leak. We got to find the leak. You got to search for the leak. They're searching room to room. Then finally they go to one guy's cabin and he's drilling holes in the bottom of his cabin in the boat. And you go, idiot, what are you doing? This is my cabin. I paid for it. It's mine. I've got the right to do whatever I want with my cabin. It's my cabin. Obviously you don't. Because it affects everybody. Okay? Hence, all Jews are family, and one should therefore desire the best for his fellow. It changes your perception entirely. It changes our perception of how we view the other person entirely because he is you. They have you. If you see success in the friend, Baruch Hashem, thank God. You shouldn't look at it with a tsar ayin, with a miserly eye, or an evil eye. Because it's a good sign. It's siman tov. His success is my success. That's what he says here. Hence, all Jews are family, and one should therefore really desire the best for his fellow. View his neighbor's good fortune benevolently, and cherish his friend's honor as his own. For they are one and the same.
But people do not get this at all.
I know. You have
Not
to
at
integrate
all.
this.
Are you
For
this
this
is-
reason, let me just finish here. For this reason, too, we are commanded to love your fellow as yourself because he is you.
But She left out the word Jew. Does this only refer to Jews?
No, really, it extends even to
To
non-Jews.
humankind?
That's what I was
Everybody.
thinking.
All
Yeah,
humanity.
it should.
Yes,
It
we're
should.
all
Focus
connected.
on us.
There's an external aspect and there's an internal. You want to generate more energy in the internal before the external, okay? And it is proper that a person desire the well-being of his fellow, and he should never speak ill of him. Never, no lashon hara is out the window. You speak lashon hara about him, you're like speaking bad about yourself, because he has a piece of you. You're taking him down among his fellows with your words. You're degrading him. You're degrading yourself. Right? Or desire that evil befall him? No, you want to pick him up. It's such a change. Just as the Holy One, blessed be He, desires neither our disgrace nor our suffering. He doesn't want. He doesn't want. Because we are His relatives. We're His wife. A person should not desire to see his fellow's disgrace, suffering, or downfall. Rather, a person should be pained by it as if he himself were the victim, and the reverse applies to his fellow's good fortune. He should be unbelievably happy and dancing when his fellow has good fortune. Baruch Hashem. Okay? So the idea really here is the idea of connection. We are totally interconnected. And you try to integrate that interconnection that we all have, because we're all brothers and sisters. And should never seek or think use your powers of perception to think bad about anybody, because they are you. Okay? It's just you in a different form. Can you imagine such a thing? It is me in a different form. Okay? It's just me in a different form. Bizarre. Okay? So from here we know that Hashem has pain when we have suffering. Never to feel alone. No, you have to live it like a relative. You have to live it like a son, live it like a daughter. Okay? That Hashem is with us. He doesn't want to seek pain in anybody. And to use this as an expression towards our fellow. Only seek good. Only talk good. Can't talk bad. God forbid. All right? Let's stop here.
Great class.